And we are back with the fifth segment of the GSMC Sports Podcast presented by the GSMC Sports Network. And in this final segment, we're going to talk about the sort of not really a drama between Michael Jordan and Isiah Thomas. This has been drama that has been it's been around since, I want to say, 1992, maybe even longer than that. But this is obviously like referring to the incident on the Dream Team, and it was brought back to light a few years ago when Michael Jordan put out the Last Dance documentary, and it had a lot of people wondering whether or not, like, as we know, Michael Jordan and Isiah Thomas, they did not like each other. Specifically, Michael Jordan not liking Isiah Thomas. They matched up in the playoffs for several years, and for, I want to say, maybe 3 years, the Pistons almost always ended up getting on top and beating the Chicago Bulls. Now, the issue for Chicago, we all know that I'm a huge LeBron fan, but I'm not going to act like Michael Jordan was not a talented basketball player. The issue was that the Bulls did not have enough talent to go up against the Detroit Pistons. Now, Michael Jordan failed to say this in his Last Dance documentary, but the biggest reason why they ended up beating the Pistons eventually was because that the Bulls were able to match themselves up equally in talent with this Detroit Pistons squad. And it's been, obviously we know Michael Jordan does not like losing, and because he doesn't like losing, he does not like people who beat him, and that would obviously put Isiah Thomas as the main target as to why he does not like him. But one of the biggest reasons why Michael Jordan does not like Isiah Thomas is because of what Isiah Thomas did back in 1991, when the Bulls finally ended up beating the Pistons. They ended up sweeping them in the playoff series. The Pistons, they did not want to shake Michael Jordan's hand, and so all of the starters that were on the bench, they decided to walk out of the arena, and Michael Jordan did not. He took that very personally, because in every single one of the playoff games where the Bulls ended up losing to this team, no matter how much it hurt Michael Jordan to do it, he always would shake Isiah Thomas's hand. And because that's just a sportsmanship thing. It represents somebody who has class. And obviously, Scottie Pippen and the Pistons at that point were dubbed as a team that did not necessarily have that class, and that sort of rubbed Michael Jordan the wrong way. And a lot of people speculate whether or not this uneasy relationship between these two is the reason why Isiah Thomas wasn't selected to join the Dream Team back in 1992. So, in Isiah's words, he said he met the criteria to be selected, but he wasn't. And a lot of people speculate, at the time and still to this day, that Michael Jordan was the biggest reason why Isiah Thomas wasn't on the Dream Team. So basically, it went something like this. Michael Jordan was like, I don't want to play with Isiah Thomas. You either get me on the Dream Team without Isiah Thomas, or you don't get me on the Dream Team at all. And obviously, at the time when Michael Jordan was considered by many to be the best basketball player in the world, the United States team, they went with the decision of deciding to pick Michael Jordan over picking Isiah Thomas, and obviously, in my opinion, that was the right move, because you would rather want Michael Jordan on your team as opposed to Isiah Thomas. Even though Isiah Thomas was a very talented point guard, the team was already getting Magic Johnson to come out of retirement to play for them, and they also already had John Stockton and some other talented point guards. So having Isiah Thomas as opposed to having Michael Jordan, I feel like, Michael Jordan made that Dream Team what it was. And whether or not Michael Jordan was the sole reason why Isiah Thomas wasn't on the Dream Team was still rather unclear. There were, yes, maybe Michael Jordan did not want him on the team, but there were also several other players who also did not want Isiah Thomas on the team. The Pistons, they were not liked by any major star in the NBA. I mean, Larry Bird had some beef with them. Scottie Pippen also had beef with them, and basic more or less like half the team. Chuck also had beef with the Pistons. They did not like, neither one of those guys liked the play style that the Pistons ended up going out with, and because we know the Pistons, they were very rough around the edges, and they would try to get these cheap fouls and things like that that would upset the other players. And this is the main team that was like, that would get quoted with the, oh, back in my day it was very physical and things like that. This was the main team that started the whole physicality narrative, and whether or not Michael Jordan was the sole reason for that was rather unclear, but we do have some reason now, according to some other sources. Now, it's been reported that Jordan revealed his plot to exclude Isiah Thomas, according to a call that he made to Rod Thorne. So here's the quote. He said, "Rod Thorne called me. I said, Rod, I won't play if Isiah Thomas is on the team," Jordan said. "He assured me," he said, "you know what? Chuck doesn't want Isiah, so Isiah is not going to be a part of the team." And however, Thorne, the executive in charge of putting together the Dream Team, denied any such conversation. There was, he said, quote, "There was never anything in my conversation with Jordan that had to do with Isiah Thomas, period." And he said, I'll do it. Isiah's name never came up during the conversation, and he never backtracked and said he didn't want to do it from that time, to those of us in the NBA office. And even in the report, well, not really in the report, but even in the Last Dance documentary, when they were talking about it and when Michael Jordan was talking about it, he said that it wasn't just him that had the decision. Like, he was saying that everybody sort of immediately blamed him as the reason why Isiah Thomas wasn't on the team, when it was like a whole group decision that the group didn't want Isiah Thomas on the team. It was like, I don't want to say it's a similar situation to what the women's team did with Caitlin Clark, but it feels like it a little bit, you know, where you have a group of these stars that don't want a specific star to join the team. But the reasoning for that is rather different between why the women didn't want Caitlin as opposed to why Team USA did not want Isiah Thomas. But it still sort of feels like a similar issue. But regardless, according to this quote, it was said that Michael Jordan wasn't too keen on having Isiah Thomas on the Dream Team. So again, let me know in the comments what you guys think happened, whether you guys agree with the report, or maybe you guys don't think that this is true. Maybe it was a whole team decision. I'm curious what you guys have to say to that. But that's all that I have in this segment. That's it for the show. Thank you so much for tuning into the GSMC Sports Podcast presented by the GSMC Sports Network. Your support means a lot to us, so remember to subscribe to the show, leave a positive review. It really does make a difference. We also invite you to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. As usual, we love to hear what you guys have to say during the show, whether it's a hot take or a burning question. If you really want your comment and or question to get noticed, then I recommend using Super Chat. You just click on the $ below the chat box. If that's not really your thing, then you can always use the link displayed below the ticker, gsmcpodcast.net, and you can send in your comments and or donations that way as well. That's all that I have today on this podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am your host, Nelson, and as always, take care. Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to